Good evening. Welcome to Beginners Academy. Tonight's subject is Go Ahead and Try RaDAR. I'm Greg Lane, N4KGL in Dothan, Alabama. And specifically, we're going to talk about RaDAR Rally. And RaDAR Rally uses your ham radio knowledge, portable equipment, and physical skills to challenge yourself during an unforgettable 4-hour experience. And RaDAR is an acronym, more or less, for Rapid Deployment Amateur Radio. And the RaDAR concept was originated with Eddie Layton, Zeta 6BNE in South Africa. And you can practice radar anytime you want, but we have two events annually, the first Saturday of April and the first Saturday of November. All right. Well, I'm highlighting on the screen something very unique about RaDAR, and that is it's make 5 QSOs and move in a outdoor setting. And in my little diagram, I'm showing 4 stops. But what makes RaDAR pretty exciting is that the RaDAR rally specifically has a 4-hour duration. So you're on the clock and you need those 5 QSOs and you need to move, but it's uh, it, it's a lot of fun. And when you're moving, uh, really it can be a variety of, I call them conveyances. One is your own foot, and there's specified distance based on your conveyance. So on foot is 1 kilometer, on a bicycle would be 2 kilometers, and a motorized vehicle would be 6 kilometers. It is possible to use different conveyances during the event if you want to. And RaDAR can use any band and mode except for repeaters. Now, satellite QSOs are allowed. We do have a scoring system. It's not really a contest, but to make it fun, we have a score, and if you make a radar to radar contact, it's 3 points. If you can really be anywhere and contact a POTA or SOTA station, that's 2 points, and all other QSOs are 1 point. And so our score is the points you accumulate times the number of stops plus bonus points. And we'll talk about those in a moment. But so it's 5 QSOs and move. Let's say you're at stop 3 and you're running out of time. Well, the 4th stop will count if you make at least 1 QSO. So that makes it worth to go that distance and make 1 more QSO. It will really help your score. The radar exchange, basically, if you call CQ radar and you just talk to any station out there, basically exchange your signal report and your location. Your location might be your parks on the air reference, anything you want to use. Certainly, your state is good enough. But if you're working another radar station, exchange your signal report and an 8-digit grid square. And that's a bit challenging, but Eddie, ZS6B and E, really wanted something a little more than just signal report and location. So, and radar to radar contacts are worth the most points. So, exchange that signal report and an 8-digit grid square. Now, if you're answering a CQ, say there's a QSO party going on, they don't want your grid square. They basically want whatever for that QSO party is exchanged. So most likely you'll just give a signal report and your state. But anyway, you can work anybody doing radar, and when you work them, if they're in an activity, just use the exchange that they expect. And these stations out doing radar need your help. Uh, and most of the world doesn't know about radar. So, uh, radar stations are portable generally, and they may be QRP, so they might not have really the biggest signals. You can run 100 watts or if you want to. But anyway, you may want to encourage your friends to follow you. And so if you're making some spots, they can work you. And I have often mixed in some local contacts. Uh, if I'm desperate for that fifth contact, I'll get on the local repeater and beg for a station to go over to Simplex so I can work them. And that's when somebody needs to answer you on the repeater. So the more you socialize the idea of radar, the better. All right, back to our big picture here. The rules, the roster, and more information is on our website, which is www.radarrally.info. This is a screenshot from that website, and it's basically a blog, and the top item on the blog is that registration is open for the April 5th, 2025 Radar Rally. And the reason we encourage registration is so if we know what radar stations are participating, the more likely we can uh, get some radar to radar contacts going. So the registration process is to send me an email, lanekg@gmail.com, with just this basic information, name, call. Um, if you're operating on Saturday or Sunday, Sunday is a backup day. If you just absolutely can't get on Saturday, then the following Sunday would be an opportunity. Your venue, I don't know if I mentioned, but the venue can be anything you dream up. It doesn't have to be a POTA or a SOTA on their list. It can be anywhere. But a POTA, a park, might be a great place to operate because you're going to have a built-in audience if you spot yourself on parks on the air. A start on UTC to start your 4 hour activity, your conveyances on foot, bicycle, canoe, or combination of that, the bands you expect to operate, the modes you expect to operate. QRP, yes or no, there is a QRP bonus, and the spotting method. Now, there is no, well, over the years, just a lot of different methods have been tried. Um, I'm going to talk more about a method of spotting that I really recommend. Uh, but you're not absolutely tied into that method. So I'm I do have some registrations I haven't put on, but we'll accumulate registrations on our roster, um, and uh, we usually have a dozen or more, and it's pretty early. So the closer we get to April 5th, I hope we get a lot more registrations. And let's see, I'm going to highlight uh, that Eddie ZS6B&E is uh, very capable of putting up web pages, I guess, connected to a database to do logging. He has a project he calls the Cool Logger, COOL, that's used a lot in South Africa. But Eddie has provided essentially a logger and a spotter and an evaluator for RaDAR. And it's very cool, and we'll look at some screenshots. But this is on the website. There's a post that gives you the links to access the this capability. All right. Uh, the first of those links just brings you to a form that lets you basically put in a log entry, but it has an option to make a spot. So it has the mode/spot. Now, this is available on the web, so you don't need an app or application. Just if you do have internet, you could use this real time, and you could use it just for doing spots. So basically, you're going to let folks know your call sign, your frequency, and your mode. Well, actually, he's got mode and spot overlap there, but basically, if you get your frequency out there, you can guess the mode, and it will, I'll show you the next screen, it will put a spot up there. So this can help us radar operators find other radar operators. Now, you don't have to use this, um, but I encourage radar operators to put in their contacts, but they don't have to do it in real time. If they want to do it after the event, that's perfectly fine. This is the view screen, and it doesn't have a spot on it, but it does have a lot of contacts from the last radar rally. And you can see Ken and Enterprise has some contacts, KB4XT, Chris VA3 ECO in Ontario. Uh, I've got a contact on here from Florida, and on and on. So if you are logging in real time, people can see what you're doing, but logging in real time is optional. All right. And a record in this would show a spot if you're spotting. So it's kind of a dual duty, logger and spotter. Now, Eddie went beyond just a log and he calls it the evaluator. And these are people that turned in a log uh, uh, in November, last November. And so it pulled it all together. And Eddie actually calculates your total points or your score. So this is pretty neat. And I really appreciate Eddie putting this together. And and then he has a bar chart. And as we can see, Chris overachieved and blew us all away. But it's not just about the points. It's really the satisfaction you get in operating, and you can compare your score year to year or rally to rally if you like. So to sum it all up, I encourage folks to get ready for the RaDAR rally, particularly if you're already doing POTA, Parks on the Air. This will be a additional challenge. And of course, the rules are available on our website to read and start evaluating your gear. So not only do you need to set up portable, but you need to move between deployments. So you want to minimize your pack up as you can, or you may be in a vehicle and the pack up may not be a big issue. Uh, if you can, practice deploying and moving. Uh, and really, picking your venue is part of the fun because you got the whole world around you to decide where you want to operate. So it's hopefully to be a scenic location, your favorite spot. And we've already talked about registering. Then it comes down to the day. Enjoy the event. Uh, if you it it's a challenge. You don't always find other radar stations, but nevertheless, you can get your 5 and move and get more, another 5 and move. So we encourage you to submit a summary or your log on Eddie's system. That really would be the best way to do it. Of course, share your experience on social media. So I appreciate your attention. This completes my pitch for the RaDAR Rally. And we're trying to get the word out. And if you have questions, you can send them to me. I'm more or less the RaDAR POC at lanekg at gmail.com.